So, hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Community Builder Call. Something very interesting that Ash, you posted, which was PvP staking. So, I know PvP stuff is definitely getting closer and closer, but very interesting. Was that a typo that you said staking of some kind, or could you explain it?
Nope, there'll be full on staking. It's kind of like this is just a thing that me and Sarah have been talking about back and forth like a bit. We kind of just want to build like a full on PvP game and have some kind of risk reward mechanic where you can basically stake by buying weapons and gear and have the ability to win that from other people by killing them, basically. If anyone's ever played RuneScape, like PvP in the wilderness, it's similar to that. That's basically the idea. So, like, just to backtrack slightly, we've been working a lot on the engine side and like focusing on creators, making sure they have everything that they need. But now we're kind of like moving towards making sure that we have a platform for those creators to like kind of like a launch pad to launch these worlds and do whatnot. We're going to kind of do that with the whole thing using Hyper as a currency, which is similar to other platforms. They have their own kind of like platform currency, except we're going to be doing this on the blockchain, and we're going to try and make it so that like the ultimate goal is that anyone can use it without even noticing that they're using the blockchain. There's a few different benefits about doing that. Mainly just that you have secondary marketplaces and don't have to do over-the-counter deals and shady things on the side with like weird black markets that you see a lot in Web2 games. And I mean, people talk about that a lot, but it's just like, I don't think anyone's ever done it like truly in practice. But yeah, so like we're building the platform and we basically want to have something that showcases what the engine can do, kind of build like a polished experience that brings all of this stuff together. And right now, the current focus is kind of like, how do we bring like a PvP kind of game where you can basically you start in a safe zone. You can purchase like gear, like weapons to be whatever kind of class that you want to be. And as soon as you leave the safe zone, PvP goes on. And the further you venture out, the more scary it gets for you because basically the gear that you're wearing represents your level, and the further you go out into the like out of the safe zone, your level difference of who can attack you and you can attack becomes bigger, and so that like there's kind of like a natural balancing thing there, where if you attack somebody, if you're really out far, then you can be attacked by somebody who's lower level than you, but you can also be attacked by someone that's higher level than you. Anyone that's played RuneScape PvP Wilderness will understand how that works. And I'll try to explain it more another time. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of like the general gist of it.
Very neat. And then is this all built within like just using app scripts, or is this like part of some elements have to come from core for that to be ingrained in the game, or is that just this will be drag and drop app scripts?
Yeah.
Do you have any video too that you could play while you talk about it? Or like stream the world that you're building or something?
Yeah, maybe I could have a look at this. Let's have a look.
Sorry for interrupting.
So let me do. Actually, I don't even know if half of this stuff is set up actually. But anyway, I should have really taken a second to set that up. So we built so one of the things, right, is that we want people to be able to build these weapons and like have health and stuff like that and damage in worlds. So we've built this into the core and it's optional. It's like if you don't have anything in your world that deals damage, then no one will see those health bars. So like if I refresh, that doesn't exist until anyone kind of has that in there, which is kind of good because there's a lot of experiences that don't have like the need for PvP or health or anything like that. But as soon as you drop a weapon in there, they should all kind of like use the same system. Obviously, of course, you don't have to use any of the health and damage systems that we have. You can completely ignore it and build your own if you wanted to. But this kind of just makes it easier for anyone to drop in and create new weapon types and do all that kind of stuff. Yeah, so basically we now just have a damage system that's in the core. A lot of the bits that we will have, death animations and stuff like that, a lot of the stuff that we'll have is kind of bit like ready to go in the core, except for obviously we don't have anything that's related to doing transactions or any of that kind of stuff that the platform will have. That will just be a layer that we have on top, really.
So basically, if the world has the right set of apps, then it'll trigger and pick up on the game aspects, the game mechanics, and institute that. And guns, there will be many guns. I'm going to drop a link here as well. I saw Dr. Doge creating a bunch of gun related stuff, and I would highly recommend checking out the showcase where we dropped a bunch of hype files. So for folks that want to kind of see some examples, there's a whole bunch of apps that have been shared in the chats, and we've compiled that. Omka and HP helped out on that effort to compile those. And eventually we will get a more formal place where people can look for apps, and developers can also pull scripts and look at the script stuff. Oh, wow. So you're mining treasure boxes with your sword? Is that what's happening?
Yeah. So in the just going back to the core stuff. So in the last couple of weeks, I know it's been probably about 2 weeks since we had a call. We basically added this new effect system that means that you can now properly be attached to vehicles. And like there's all sorts of systems. Like if you notice here, when I'm attacking, I get slowed down and I play this animation. And we got this like chair thing here where you can sit in a chair but also swivel it and then just walk off it if you need to. All of these things like all sit under this like umbrella thing of effects that can be applied to players. And it basically unlocks so many things. Really, you can have things like fishing and animations when you go to open a chest. Like if you go and click on something like this, you can make it so that you kneel down and then the chest opens. Like you can do all things like that, and it freezes the player in place while they do that. Or things like fishing and mining rocks, but also enables weapons. And it should be usable for things, something I'm going to be working on soon is doing magic based stuff where you can like fire fireballs or play with bows and stuff like that. We kind of have everything we need for that now. It's just kind of like building a map. And anything that we do build, like, will obviously be shared with the community so everyone can do it. The PvP game is really going to be like a pretty good prototype for creators to show what can be done, but then we'll kind of like share everything about it with creators so that they can kind of get things done and build the things that they want.
Yeah. And then on the in terms of PvP game stuff that's happening, if you'd like to come up to talk a little bit about what your experience has been creating those amazing games, including the launch party, and I think you did the Hex as well. So Shifty, if you'd like to come up and talk about it, give some perspectives on what you're seeing with the engine and working with it, that would be pretty cool. If you're able to talk.
I can also just like stream some of his apps or something.
Yeah, if you can pull up launch party, show a quick view of that. But yeah, he's put out some stuff. He put out a jet flying as well, and then Dr. Doge. I'll throw Dr. Doge. You're here too. if you can speak to it as well, what you did, you took the hyper duck flying and turned it into a blackbird, basically.
Which app did you want me to show?
The launch party, the balloon fight.
All right, one sec.
Yeah. And then Dr. Doge is up on the line here. Go ahead, Dr. Doge.
All right, there we go. Yeah, I think we're in here. All right, yeah, perfect. There we are. Oh yeah, no, definitely shout out Shifty. When he dropped the hyperduct there and had the flight and stuff like that, that was definitely a game changer last week or so. And it pretty much from there, it's just kind of been, I've taken in essentially added a few different camera positions, had a few different modifications, projectile systems, added a couple features so you can drop in different models and stuff like that and kind of have it, swapped out between which ones it is. A little bit more there too. I'm working on at the moment with projectile systems actually interacting, which I now with the PvP aspect that Ash and stuff is kind of dropped and worked on last night, and I've seen that too. It's I think it's going to get pretty interesting here soon with this kind of stuff. But no, definitely, I think it looks like Shifty said it's dinner time. He's looking around, but no, definitely he has been making some crazy items. I think Sour's got some up right now. It looks like, and I can get my screen up as well here and share in a minute. Let me go. Yes. Some pretty awesome features.
And then when you say adding like modular things like that, this is all based on the app scripts, right? You're just basically different scripts that you have, you're putting into one major big script.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. Kind of along that system. Same way kind of with the weapon here systems and things along that nature. It's same, simple pick up the attachables and stuff that Ash was dropped the other night, and that kind of made things a lot easier just seeing how that worked. And like properly picking up, and it just kind of, yeah.
Are you going to stream or should I get back on?
Oh yeah, I can stream mine. Here we go. Let me see here. Get it up for y'all. We're all been kind of in here the last few hours, kind of working on different stuff within the world. We've got like Sko's working on some different weapon mechanics and bringing in different models. Howie's been getting the monorail and some of the other stuff going. Because well, he's been getting the UI stuff that's been in there. All right, there we go. Screens up. Perfect. Let me get this going here. All right, so yeah, perfect here. Let me see. There we go. Down in the world here. Let me see. I just had it. Where'd it go? Let's pick this up first real quick just to kind of give an idea. The weapon. Now you can see I've kind of got that in my hand. It fires. Everything is pretty much good to go. It's just been a matter of getting it to essentially interact, finding, the right way to make it actually when it interacts with a different collider, the collisions different, impact zones different, making it react to dynamic items. So when it hits it, it actually goes flying off to a different direction or interacting as it kind of should be. Oh yeah, here's Sko. You can kind of see him. He's got some different weapons in the trash can. Got the little shooting range going up. But we've got a few different models here. So like I can drop this one here. Pick up, there we go. Now we got the MG42, a little bit bigger range, but I kind of like what Ash was talking about even earlier. It's like there's always going to be different weapon types, so it's kind of having, when you enter that world, if that's even available, in that world, you can have that set type, whether it's a rocket launcher, maybe it's an actual just a grenade, maybe it's anything for that matter. Maybe it's something wacky you want it to be, anything along that nature. I think that's really gonna change up a lot of stuff, and you kind of you see you got
the one different... hyper per bullet sign is hilarious.
Yeah. Shout out to Sko on that one. He's been all of this pretty much here. This section he's created here, going into it. Yeah, he's still back there on the backside now. I think he's getting that to work, and a little bit more on the dynamic stuff where it interacts and getting into it. But with the jet and stuff. Yeah. So pretty much when Shifty dropped the Hyperduct, I spent good night. I was looking through. You remember the vehicles, some with the bikes, and even this. It was a nice little refreshing just seeing something flying around. It was like, wait a minute, this just unlocked so much stuff, changed the whole, I guess you would say, in my opinion, how it almost seems like what could be done in Hyperfy at this sense, So I can just pop in now. Got it changed up, still added some different camera angles. Ash, the last update you did as well, that did fix with the positioning and stuff inside, like when you're looking through first person and stuff. Hold on, I can drop back down, hop in. There we go. Move this. Perfect. I think that was Howie just flying by. All right, there we go. Check out systems. That's all working. Pretty much added a orbit cam as well. So, okay, there we go. With the HUD, pretty much gives you your current height, altitude. Was working on ammo counters and stuff like that as well. Just maybe a system for like a chaff and defense system. You can have a hotkey that kind of pops that open. But yeah, spatial sound added to it, and get this here. Adjusted more so the cockpit will kind of adjust you to where you get into it. Depending on the aircraft, you'll kind of, it'll always fit inside of there at that moment. But yeah, it's been pretty wild seeing what's actually possible and just the amount of updates the last few days alone in that sense, to what can be done, especially with weapons, projectiles, every kind of, the PvP systems alone. Yeah. I'm excited to get around and try that out in a little bit, but...
How many seats are in that cockpit? You could almost have a second person maybe sitting in there with you, just chilling.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure you could. You just added a second one. Yeah, you could definitely have multiple people. Like I said, depending on the craft or the aircraft you've got on. Yep, it should be able to pretty much switch. Let me see here. I can land it and should be able to. Let me see. I'll just hop out. There we go. Grab it.
Have you been able to get VR to work on that?
Oh, that would be insane. I played around a good little bit a few times now in the VR, but for some reason, maybe I don't know if it's the version that I'm on. For me in particular, when I load on the VR, it's almost like I'm reversed. So it's not like much. I just have to turn around in my physical space, but everything else works phenomenal. You've seen some of the stuff Ruston has done, some of his videos, and he's got his kind of set up into there like that as well. But yeah, I'm sure especially once more comes into that XR side and the VR stuff, especially with interactable items or different apps like that, it's probably going to open up a whole new realm as well. Especially just being able to change around, going into it. These here, it's little things like that. But oh yeah, now we got him. Okay, he's over here. Where was that? I just seen him. He was around here floating around. But
and then in the chat, they're talking about making a magic school bus.
Oh yeah.
So imagine a magic school bus with F-35 flight characteristics. But it does bring up a good point. You could scale up and down and do a bunch of stuff. Like it is super powerful what we got going on here.
Oh yeah. There's some things I think I know Ash was telling me a little bit of a way, and I'm just kind of still got to play around and get that working a little bit. But like you even said with the scaling and stuff, this is the avatar scaler or the stations here. But if I inspect, there's a little slider now I got to where if you inspect it, you can kind of adjust that scale of it. And I'm pretty much just trying to get it to where when you actually were to equip that, it kept that same scale size, So it's like not too big up or down, not too dramatic, but like you just said, some maybe you want to fly around, maybe it's too big, you're hopping in, you want to fly in a jet or something, you want getting on a different vehicle. And the current avatar you got's too big, so you just pop in, have one on there, scale it up, and then you could go from there. Yeah. So, but
actually, I think I know how we can do that. If you hit me up after this call, and we'll make it happen.
Definitely.
I think I know how to do it now.
Okay. Yeah, that would be pretty sick. Because I guess, like you said, it wouldn't really be impeding like on the core side of it. It kind of just, if you've got that app in there in general, yeah, we just kind of affect it there. And still, then you wouldn't have to worry about that side. That'd be sick.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, super cool. And there's that monorail. So wait, how big is how many megabytes is that flight? The Blackbird.
The Blackbird, a few megabytes. I can drop the working version here. I've got the current updated one here. I'll drop. I can drop in the side chat there as well and put them somewhere. So let me see here. I'll get that.
Pretty wild that it's only a couple megabytes, the whole experience.
Let me see hypers. Where we at here? There we go. Drop that. And it's in the side chat. Perfect. So yeah, just over to, I think, like 2.7 something. Yep. And this one here as well, you'll notice like the firing sound, everything. The reactive is pretty much just changed out from like a mesh particle to more of a UI text particle, essentially. As the firing effects, which you can change them up pretty much however you need to, whatever different characters, different ASCII art, stuff like that you want to. Everything's pretty much fully adjustable within there. Yep.
I'll probably steal the HUD. That HUD was really cool. So.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. Like, yeah, feel free to. Like I said, this is kind of one of the better parts of Hyperfy in this sense is even daily. I mean, it's kind of, you've got more than just one person working on some things. You got people like MetaMike, and then Howie does it, and then like I mean, they could do almost everything at once, but then it's like, I don't know half this stuff. I'm still learning as it goes, but yeah, it's always good to have that group effort. You got kind of, once different people, one or two, start working on the same thing. I mean, it's crazy how fast stuff kind of takes effect and goes into motion. I mean, you can kind of see it just the last few days alone.
100%, yeah. And that actually brings us right to Anka. Anka, I'm going to invite you to speak if you're able to. Talk about kind of the UI stuff that you've been doing as well, because you've been, killing it with I think the image thing, and then also the pane, the terminal pane. So if you'd like to talk a little bit about that and kind of how you've been helping the community as well, that would be great if you could talk through a couple of those things.
Yeah, I don't have a world up right now. Let me do that while I'm talking. But yeah, I've been tinkering with different UI stuff. The whole day today has been a very grateful experiment in the new unlock that Ash gave us a day or so ago. Having kind of the in between world and where all the panes live, we can now put stuff on the screen, and that has changed everything I'm doing for the next 2 days probably. So I'm super grateful for that. I'm getting to some places with that, but probably won't show too much of that because let's see. Well, I might have to. Yeah, but I've been going through and making little iterations of UI stuff, trying to kind of build out a little core hype availability for people. Some of them are in that All Hypes channel. I'll throw a bundle together in the next couple of days and put them there too, but making it so that you can, from the settings pane or from the inspect pane of the hype, just use drop downs and range sliders to change like the UI width and UI height. I did a few mods to the core in one of my branches. Maybe I'll run it by you later, Ash, about being able to drag and drop files in. That was pretty nice. It was a pretty minor change. And yeah, making iterations of that, experimenting with pulling from URLs. I pulled from IPFS, I pulled from a couple other places to get images up. Yesterday we worked with Agent 12 to get images up on his Breezy billboards. I also started working on a color picker I'm gonna modify that a little bit and hopefully get that in the inspect pane as well, so that you can have a full color picker. You can kind of hover over the colors, and it will give you the RGB hex and the HSL that you can then use for other things. So I'm just kind of digging into making UI stuff, all things UI, accessible and easy, and try to get some hypes together so people can throw up different aspects. Been experimenting with bounty boards and on-screen menus and stuff like that.
Yep. And then also you did tacos with, was it with SCO?
Oh yeah, SCO did a lot of modeling for the taco world. We had a lot of fun with that. We got a Solana transaction to work thanks to Peasy helping me set up the Solana branch he's been working on. We actually made a DevNet Hyperfy token as well. So if people want to experiment with that, hit us up and we can set that up. I think Peasy was talking about maybe making like a DevNet Hyperfy faucet too, so you can do stuff on DevNet and not use actual hyper while you're coding it out. But we made it like a chain of events occur on a transaction. So you sit down on a stool at the taco stand, and it triggers a sign transaction, and then as soon as you sign it, and it goes through and approves, it kind of runs a chain of events. So a GLB taco clones in front of you, the sign above you changes, a little taco sign appears in front of you, and then the hyperduck spins around and the mariachi band starts playing on the hyper speaker. And everything's triggered by the seat anchor. So when you stand up, everything stops. It's using app emit and app on to catch the transaction. So everything's kind of communicating to each other, saying, "Hey, transaction succeeded. This function happened. Taco time is enacted because the taco got delivered." And then the hyperduck goes crazy and the music turns on, and it's all from a transaction on Solana. Thanks for showing the video. But yeah, I guess that's kind of what I've been up to.
I didn't even notice that the duck goes crazy. That's super cool. So it's essentially reading the response and driving those interactions. So super neat. And to enable the Solana integration stuff, that's from the Hype Package Manager.
Yeah, and we'll kind of get into that on Monday at the tutorial series with PZ2. It's from the Cal Solana branch right now, which I think is going through some upgrades also. But it does work, and yeah, you can get it from my high package, or you can fork it from my Cal, or fork it from PZ's Cal Solana would be smart at this point.
Hype package is super easy, in my opinion. If anyone,
it is.
I think that's the way everyone should go, pretty much.
Yeah, it's super easy. He built a CLI for it, so it'll get you set up real quick.
I wonder how easy it would be for like Hyperworld, for example, platform to have options for that when creating a world.
Probably easy, but I think maintaining it, I don't know. PZ has like some automated like merging stuff, but I'm like nervous that it won't need any human intervention ever. So
Yeah, it basically is like Git, and if you get a merge issue, then it will just fail. But yeah.
I think like the API is already done. Yeah, like it's just a couple things that get inserted and aren't going to change.
And the way PZ was interacting with it before with like the bolts, he set up a server wallet on the, so you basically you deposit Hyper into the server wallet, and then the client has a server wallet as well. And so everything that's happening, all the interactions of quote unquote transferring Hyper is actually off chain in that instance until you deposit or until you withdraw. So you're only doing 2 transactions rather than doing a lot of microtransactions. Where in that Taco one, I just did a direct. Like the Taco cart has a hard coded wallet, and you send it to that wallet, and when it recognizes the transaction went through, it did stuff.
Cool. And if anybody has any questions, definitely drop them in the chat. I brought up is there anything else, Ash, you wanted to talk about from a core perspective, development items that you've been working on? I brought up Cheddar just so she could talk a little bit about her experience at ETH Denver. She participated in a hackathon there using Hyperfy.
Yeah, I'll try and make sure I covered everything. So it's kind of like there's 3 things that we're working right now. Like from a core perspective, we added the new UI that Omka was talking about. Basically, like you could already have UI in world, like physically in the world, but you couldn't have UI on the screen in your face, like similar to the chat UI that we have already on the screen, if you know what I mean. So now you can do that, which is kind of like a huge enabler for a lot of experiences that people are going to build. For example, action bars and being able to like see that, like in games that have action bars like Minecraft, where you can switch between the weapons and the things that you're holding down the bottom. But also for like other UI like quest objectives that you might have pinned over to the right hand side of the screen, or just to have extra buttons. Like you might have a button like if you were to go stand on an elevator, and you could actually have little up and down buttons pop up on the screen. You could go click those to go up and down if you want. Like it's not the best example, but you can pretty much have a lot more freedom doing that. We don't currently support that in VR, but I have a good pathway to it. The benefit, like one of the things I'm proud of is with the UI is that you can build it once in one way and have it in world or on the screen without having to change anything. The only difference is the positioning of how you place that. So obviously in the world you're using meters and world coordinates, but on the screen you're using pixels and offsets from the edges of the screen. So yeah, that's cool. I think that's a huge enabler. I mean, we're spending a lot of time at the moment focusing on the platform, but also still trying to keep creators busy with new things and putting things in the core. Even though the primary focus right now is just trying to get this platform out. But yeah, like in the last couple of weeks, there's, I think over 50 like improvements and bug fixes. And one of those other things that we've pushed out is the ability for the engine. So we have this like whole world engine, it's multiplayer and whatnot, but we're kind of like morphing this into be a little bit more usable in different contexts. So we changed the way that clients connect to servers, and that you can have a custom client with your own kind of UI and whatnot, which is similar to the way that Minecraft, for example, has custom clients that you can have plugins and UI changes and all that kind of. It's basically just skins and mods that you can put on your client, and that client can then connect to any server world hosted anywhere. So we kind of like unlock that. The other thing is being able to use the engine itself, like all of the tech that's in there, all of the auto instancing, running apps, easily displaying avatars and playing animations on them, like all that kind of stuff. We produced a package like that's standalone kind of. We're calling it a viewer package because it's essentially just using the engine, but it's in viewer mode. There's no multiplayer. There's no networking or anything like that. You can just kind of like embed it on a website and put all of the things that you need to run a world of any kind in there, and it's just kind of like exists. And the reason we did that is primarily because on the platform that we're building, when you land on that, you kind of like land on this main screen. And we wanted to have like an environment with things moving around in the background with avatars that you can switch between and they kind of like swap out. And then in the marketplace or in your vault, you can equip emotes and see what you can see them, your whatever avatar you have or character playing that emote, but also look at the items that you've collected, which are essentially apps and all that kind of stuff. And there was just no point in us kind of like, we already had this engine that could do all of that. We just kind of needed just the front end side of it without the networking, and we could just use that without having to rebuild this whole new main menu system, which is really cool. Great way to eat your own dog food. Yep. Yeah. So that's kind of it from the core point of view. That and effects. The effects that now let us do vehicles and tools and combat, fishing and mining, and all that kind of stuff's really cool. And then obviously the other thing was the PvP that we're working on.
Yeah.
And kind of this main menu thing too has, I don't know how much he said about that, but it's getting there. I can't actually log in right now, or else it's going to show my real email. So I can't even look at the vault. But yeah, there's some clips of it. Yeah, let me try.
And then while you're pulling that up, the main question that anybody would have is when is that going to be released? What's the kind of the milestone target timeline that you're seeing that platform would be accessible for people to log into and connect to?
Yeah, so we're trying to go with like MVP approach where we want to get out as fast as possible, but it kind of has to have a reason to exist. So we've kind of got most of the things that we actually need already. It's just about like, do we want to ship this with or without a PvP game, or something like that? Just not getting ready to go. We have like accounts and avatar switching and emote previews that Sarah can show you in a sec. And we've got this privy system where you basically get given a embedded wallet. Which is, if any traders out there have used like BullX or Photon, that's kind of like what happens is you don't trade with your main wallet. You actually get given a wallet by those platforms and you deposit your tokens to that. And then you can end up getting like fast transactions. You don't have to worry about signing things constantly. So you kind of just give it what you're like happy enough to use for that. Which is good, and it also means that we can generate embedded wallets for people who don't even know what the heck blockchain is. If you're like a Web2 person, you've never seen blockchain, you just don't understand how it works. You sign up with an email address, you get given a wallet that is fully like enabled and ready to go. And eventually, we'll kind of like layer on top the ability to use a credit card to buy Hyper. Which will then top up your embedded wallet, and you can then use that throughout worlds, throughout the marketplace, wherever.
I would say that just being able to connect and look at stuff in a wallet or a vault is good enough for my purpose as a collector. So I would say if you wanted to do MVP, that's all it is.
Yeah, for sure. And like, but so right now we're kind of like, we try to figure out how we're going to do this, but basically in V1 we just didn't have anything even like this, and so we're trying to kind of like, I think we kind of knew what we wanted to do with V1 for that, but we just never really did it. But basically there's like a create tab, and you would have seen that before when Sarah was showing it, but in there you'll be able to create worlds, you'll be able to create avatars, and you'll be able to create apps and emotes. And something I'd really like to do eventually is wearables, and having like a layered wearable system on top of VRMs, which I know exactly how to do. It's just kind of like a time thing. It's like, when do we want to do that? But yeah, you kind of be able to do all of those things. They'll get created as NFTs. You can choose whether they're listed on the marketplace, or you can just have them as something that you give away in your worlds for completing quests or playing games and winning things and whatnot.
I got it now. My bad. So yeah, you come here, and then I guess we should probably change connect to like log in because you're not really connecting anything. Besides like your email, I think we'll have like probably Twitter, Google, and email, and you just like put it in there. A lot of you have seen Privy; it's probably standard by now, but if not, basically, it lets people just have a regular type of login, and then it'll give them a wallet that's basically managed by Privy, and then it'll like make it so you don't need an extension, and it's a little bit cleaner, like to do approvals and signatures and stuff like that. You can do it like on mobile without switching out of the Safari app and stuff like that. It's just like a lot better UX. Yeah, and it lets us sponsor transactions too. I am definitely not saying we're going to sponsor every transaction, but there's some which might be smart to do. And what else? Yeah, I can't get in the vault right now. Let's see.
Oh, good. How did you? Is that in Hyperfy? I see the grid. I see the background. Is that a Hyperfy UI?
Yeah, that's using the unlock that Ash gave us yesterday. I've been having fun.
That's wild. And each one of those are like tied to actions and triggers behind the scenes, basically.
They will be. Yeah, it's getting there. I've been like Ash kind of said. Getting the positioning of things took a little bit of wrapping my brain around. But once I got that dialed in, now I'm kind of chugging along. So that's been my morning coffee right there. And all those images are just emojis, so it's really light.
They're
Very
emojis.
cool.
Yeah, man.
Oh, and you've given it a border and stuff. Yeah, they look like images to me.
I just use the UI or the UI text with an emoji, and
That's funny.
All right, so I'm logged in. We'll have my hyperbalance here. Vault here, like switches the camera angle a little bit. We had to make a client, like a viewer, to get like sort of special features that this menu has. But it uses the Hyperfy engine, so it's nice. You'll be able to just see all the NFT avatars you own or off-chain ones, and we're gonna have some that are just like a set of default avatars at first that everyone gets, and they don't need any NFTs for and stuff like that. So you're not stuck with the hyperbot if you don't want it. And then we'll do things like have a emote market because we have like a new GLB animation system that supports like custom animations, so you'll be able to like upload them and sell them and as NFTs and stuff. And then there's gonna be a few more categories like AI, agents, vehicles, pets, and stuff like that. And then marketplace. What?
We'll have plants as well, a whole category just for plants.
I don't know. Maybe miscellaneous.
Environment.
I guess we probably architecture and stuff is a good one.
Yeah, there's a lot of categories because apps can literally be anything, which is something that a lot of platforms don't have. They just kind of have every category is its own thing that they built into it. But yeah.
Yeah, the way we have it set up at the moment is it's basically going to be one huge Hyperfy collection, and people can create their own sales basically. So like whatever I want to sell, I just like kind of upload it, and then it makes like you can set the amount of items you want to sell, and then you'll be able to purchase them with Hyper and get an NFT from it. Yeah, so it's super flexible, and it'll have metadata that other people can pull, which is nice.
Yes, something that a lot of people did in V1 was basically they would build kind of an experience or whatever, and then they would link to like a Manifold Mint NFT page, and then you had to connect your wallet and do all that, and it was kind of like all in a new tab. It was like weird. And I think doing it this way, we can kind of like fully support creators where you just kind of like build the experience and then it's just one click. Like you prompt someone if you want to buy something and they can either choose to buy it or not. And we can kind of build in like, and they don't have to worry about signing and doing all that kind of stuff. It's just like one click and you're done. And it's just kind of like supporting creators in that way, but also like, I think there's just many ways that we can do that. So like those things that you do purchase with Hyper can then, since they're NFTs, you can then use them for like token gating in world and for like as passes to get into things or whatnot. Even they could be used as a reward. You could like, if you win a game or something, you get a trophy that you can then go and place in your own world in your house or whatever. But then that trophy could also be used as a checkpoint in another world, you know, and there's like full interoperability there.
Indeed. Very cool. Thanks for sharing here the alpha you guys got going on here.
Yep, no problem.
Okay, there's lots of things happening. It's kind of chaos.
Beautiful chaos.
Yeah.
And so moving into talking about supporting builders and kind of seeing what can be done with it. I brought up Cheddar Kesso. She, along with Bogey and Fractilians and a couple other folks, went to ETH Denver, and actually Cheddar participated in a hackathon. So I'm interested to hear what her experience was, what kind of the hackathon was, what her idea was, and also kind of how was it received from the group, you know, as people, as being a platform to build easily on. Were they successful with building on Hyperfy? So Cheddar, can you hear us well and good to go?
Hey, what's up? Mic check. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me up. It's an honor being amongst you legends. I created a cannabis cultivation agent on Eliza, and I entered the hackathon at ETH Denver because there was just so many AI tracks. And at the very last minute, like I think maybe about 15 hours before the submissions were due, I met a friend out there who's there from England. He's one of the homies here, Bogey. He's in our community and he's been doing a lot of stuff, building worlds and stuff. And I was just telling him about what I was doing. We had just met, and my idea, right, was always to have a virtual space where Mary Jane could interact with her users, where she could display plant biology and soil biology in a way that people could visualize versus just two-dimensional pictures, and where people could come in and see plant activity in action and even be able to manipulate plants in a virtual world before they go on to do that in real life. And I was just, throwing off ideas. He was like, you could do it right now. And I was like, yeah, but I was so busy with the coding and trying to integrate story and blockchain and some of the other bounties and stuff that I'm a one-man team. So I just hadn't implemented any of that yet. And he was just like, we do that right now, And I mean, he literally smirked at me and was like, we do that right now in Hyperfy, And he just sat down and like immediately just decided to jump into the hackathon with me and took care of all the visual parts. So if you go to maryjane.wtf, you can actually see this little space that he built on a V2 world. And this is what set us apart, right? Everybody had an agent that could use a chat box, but nobody had an agent that you could go visit, right? In a virtual space that had an avatar that you could go see. And like he spent most of his time trying to integrate the Eliza agent into the world so that if you come close to her, you can talk to her, you can ask her questions, and she's, she works, kind of as intended, but this is what really I think set it apart for us and got us in the top 10 because we were able to not just show off a chat box with an agent that you could speak to, but we really kind of helped to visualize for them what it would be for you to go visit an agent in their own niche virtual space. and what what you could do. So we really showcased Hyperfy. We entered. There's another hackathon actually that's due on the 8th that we're also going to enter. So we did 2 demo days. We did one for the main ETH Denver hackathon, and we also did a demo.
Uh-oh, did we lose Cheddar?
Yep. Lost you.
Yeah.
This is really cool though.
That's awesome. We'll pull up the world though big.
She probably realized she has only 3 more days for the hackathon submission and just ran to start working on it. Yeah, no, it's huge congrats on that. Once we get Cheddar back, she could talk about the second hackathon, see if there's anything that needs to be done to help support that. Super funny that the thing that took probably longer was the ELIZA integration on the back end to get that flowing rather than, because this is just drag and drop. That's the thing that people really don't realize, like how powerful it is to have a virtual environment you could just drop models into, and as long as the colliders are all set and good to go, it feels like a physical, like a real world. And interactions are right around the corner as well. So Ash, while we wait for Cheddar to come back, did you have any thoughts or questions that you want to queue up for when she comes back?
Yeah, was there like a general for the hackathon, was there like a general theme that was like happening there? Like what was the thing?
Yeah. And Fractalians, I'm not sure if you know if there was a theme or like a goal for the hackathon.
Oh, that's cool. So basically they just have a whole bunch of different tracks and bounties, and you just kind of like build whatever and try to achieve as many as you can, I guess. Or just focus on one.
Do you want to drop the link? Is it a link that you, yeah? Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah, for that. We don't bite, just in case. I've invited her to speak. We'll see if she can make it up. But yeah, that definitely for the group, everybody here and that's listening, if you have a hackathon, you want to use Hyperfy, definitely drop a note and say, hey, this is the hackathon. Maybe we can't do the coding for you, but we can definitely give you emotional support, cheer you on, amplify the hackathon, share and get more folks looking at it. Happy to do that, and also just giving advice on how to use the engine, because it is 100% something that is easy to use. And so we want to support all the builders out there. Oh no, she's been talking to herself.
Hopefully not for too long.
Yeah.
Okay, where did I leave off?
So you left off at that you had the second hackathon on the way, coming up in 3 days.
So yeah, we submitted for both hackathons, the Sozu House hackathon and the main ETH Denver hackathon. So we still have more to submit on the 8th. But that was a long talk. Yeah, it would. What we were able to do here was what really set us apart. We went up against the judges on the first round, and they weren't too particularly riveted, but they weren't so negative. So we didn't think that we were going to make it to the top 10. Honestly, there was a huge long line. There was a lot of projects, but I think that this is what set us apart from the other AIs, because most everybody was able to present something like a chat box, right? That interacts with things, with the agent, but nobody was able to present their agent in a virtual world. In a virtual space where you could see the agent as an avatar and also chat with the agent, with their native niche knowledge that they have. So it was really a good experience to be able to put this all together so quickly. We had less than 12 hours. I think Bogey spent most of his time working on getting the ELIZA portion of the agent to work within Hyperfy. But we ended up making it to the top 10. And when we pitched at Sozu House, we had a lot of good questions, a lot of interest. There was really nothing, that was like negative criticism or yeah, it was really well received. And I think that what was able to set us apart and what got us into that top 10 was that we were able to showcase our agent in a virtual space, and they were able to visualize the possibility, a use case of what you can do when you were able to be in a virtual space with your agent, and maybe practice hands-on, right, before you get to do something in real life. It was a use case for education, not just in cannabis cultivation, but in any other area of anything that you want to showcase, where you may want to do something hands-on or show something visually. It works a lot better than just videos or just having a chat box. So yeah, when we were able to showcase this at the Sozu house, the coolest thing about this, I don't know if I got to talk about this, if you guys heard this part, but was being able to just pull the phone out of a pocket, right? This is something that I've been begging for from the metaverse space for a really long time, and Hyperfy is the only place that's able to provide this for us, that we're able to speak to somebody about what we're doing, and we can have that person pull out their phone, put a couple of thumb clicks, and in 2 seconds they're able to jump into the space and visualize and really see the vision of what we're trying to do. So that, I think, was a game changer for us. It set us apart from all the other AI projects. It allowed us to help the judges visualize, and we were able to showcase Hyperfy. It was really successful. I think it set us apart. So thank you guys so much for being able to, for constructing something that allows us to be able to do that, because with any other space, it would have been too cumbersome, and we wouldn't have been able to connect the agent. And furthermore, we would have had people download, a cumbersome application, or have to have some sort of hardware in order to be able to see what we were doing. But with this, we were just able to plug in the laptop on stage while we were doing our speech and just go to the site and immediately be able to showcase that to people, which is just not, when you're dealing with public Wi-Fi and stuff like that, it just then becomes difficult, right? You have long loading times when you're opening applications or something like that. And it just wouldn't have been ideal for what we were like, a live demonstration. So Hyperfy really helped us to set us apart and made it really easy for us. And so we're excited to continue developing the space and turn it into a cultivation classroom where you can come in there, talk to Mary Jane, pick up some plants, cut them, clone them, and look at soil biology and plant biology, in an immersive space that is easy to access and easy to build on.
Thank you for that, Cheddar. It is. I was at a conference a year ago or so, and everybody was talking about metaverse and VR and stuff like that. But then they could never pull it out. You could, like you say, pull out a phone and say, "Hey, go to this site. You're in the world." It's a huge unlock with that, and it's also VR ready, that you're going to be able to just plug in and get it working without any fiddling with apps and downloads.
It's incredible. I mean, he was able to build this in less than 10 hours, and I think he had difficulty with getting the Eliza thing working, especially since she had just switched over to V2 as we were at the hackathon, and then you guys are still building. So it's like we're building on stuff that's still being built, and I think that was difficult, but we still were able to pull it off. And we made top 10 with this little rudimentary room where other people had 4-man teams and a lot more time and better execution with their presentations, were more polished and everything was more fancy. And I just can't believe that they were so receptive to it. It was really, I think Hyperfy helped to set us apart, because without the virtual space, it would have just been the same thing as everybody else. It would have just been slides and a chat box, and that's it. And that's what everybody else had. The other thing that I did was I used my 3D printer to print some keychains that are glow-in-the-dark Hyperfy keychains with the round logo. And I embedded little NFC chips I just printed the first layer and then stuck an NFC chip in there and printed the rest of it. So with these, you can just tap it with your phone, right? And then you can take people, it can be like the key to someone's Hyperfy world. You can program it with the URL for your own world, and people can just tap with their phone and instantly jump into your phone and into your world. So I printed some for Eve Denver, and I have leftover 2, 4, 6, 8, maybe 10 of them. So I want to hand these out to you guys, to people that already have Hyperfy worlds. You want me to send it to you? You want to find a special way of giving those away? I can print more.
keys to your world. Glow in the dark NFC chips. We love Hyperfy, baby. We out here chilling.
Yep.
This is like the low key new like a Tamagotchi flex. You just have it on your keychain and you're like, you know what? Guess what I got? You want to see something cool? Where's your phone? Pop it out and then yeah, you're just instantly there. That's
100%.
Yeah. But yeah, these are awesome. I have more left over. They're done with glow in the dark filament, so they're kind of glowing. They're really cool, and I have left over. I'd be happy to just send these out to like all the OGs. I mean, you guys deserve it.
It sounds like a pretty cool like mini business idea. You should set up like a little store where you can just buy like little keychains with NFC chips inside them.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah, and that I'll do that on my own. But this is like I'm just maybe trying to present a good use case for it, and I think that like the key to your metaverse world is so dope. But yeah, I just have these that are already printed. So if you guys want to send me like an address or something, I don't know. I know it's hard to give out physical things with anonymity, but I'm sure there's a way I can get these out to you guys, just like as really like my token of appreciation for doing something so incredible for the ecosystem, something that we've been begging for years.
Appreciate
It's really
that,
cool.
Chad.
I totally agree with the like AI thing where like you see all these AI experiences when you go up to talk to the AI and you just get like a DM window in your private like one-on-one chat with an AI. I love the idea of just having like that free flowing chat where like you enter a world and you can just see somebody else talking with an AI, but you can see both sides of the conversation and maybe even like interject or like, you know, like join the conversation. I think that's really interesting. And obviously when it comes to like this Mary Jane thing that you're building is like, you've got this whole like kind of classroom environment where you can have conversations that are like focused on a specific thing with the AI and I guess that could easily evolve into like the AI eventually being able to like show you and do presentations like this is how you soil grass, this is how you grow things, like it's how you force your weed to bud, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, and the fact that she moves, like when she's talking, she makes hand gestures and stuff like that. It's pretty incredible. Now that we're home, I think that we can turn this into a real space. So I'm excited for what's to come. I wish Bogey was here because he could tell you more. He literally like did all of this. He got the domain and set up this little space and put all of these little files in here and then connected Eliza to it and like did this whole portion of it while I was working on like the Discord and Twitter and the presentation and the slides and what we were going to say and doing the submission, which takes a long time because you have to create a video and then you have to type out all of this stuff. And so it's really hard to do everything with just like a 2-man team. But I think we were able to do a lot. And that's thanks to like just the ease of being able to do this stuff without having to go for support or anything like that. Just drop it in there real quick and boom, we've got something and boom, it's top 10. So if we were able to do that as complete amateurs, I can't imagine, what's the stuff that some of you guys would be able to do with what you.
No.
Yeah, for sure. I think we lost you, but yeah.
Send her a message, let her know.
Yeah. Don't let her keep talking to herself this time. So is the NFC part wired up, or is there something that we need to add to get there? Yeah, Discord hates everyone.
I think
don't
with the
worry,
NFC thing, you just it's like a QR. You just embed a URL onto it, and then your phone scans it and pops up, and you can click on it. Yeah.
And Cheddar, I think we have you back. One of the things I wanted to call out is we're not even version like I think in GitHub it's like 0.8 are we on or something like that. So it's not even fully built out yet. It has a lot of features, but we're still doing stuff.
This is pre-stable. So we basically want to kind of like, once we're stable, I think we'll probably hit that 1.0 mark.
Exactly.
That's breaking changes.
Yeah. And I think that's when you have the gizmo. Is that official when we get to 1.0 is when we get the gizmo?
We get the gizmo. Yeah. Okay. Let's do that.
It's been really hard to play stuff so far, so I can't wait for that.
Super cool.
I think
Thank
we
you,
might need
Cheddar.
it before then.
Go ahead, Ash. Go ahead.
I think we might need the gizmo before we hit like a stable 1.0 or something like that.
Yeah. So thanks, Cheddar, for coming up, kind of describing your project. Really, really awesome work, and looking forward to your next hackathon. And definitely shout out to the community. Is find those hackathons, and we'll try to support you guys and help however we can. Howie's been posting some really cool stuff on the chat as well. So take a look at that. Some ideas as to using sensors and kind of scaling that concept of integrating the real world with the virtual world. The digital twins thing is really powerful for these types of use cases.
Yeah, we don't use the word fidgetal.
Awesome. Well, yeah, and I don't know if you guys got to hear this part, but if anyone, I have the Hyperfy keychains that are left over from ETH Denver, and I want to give those out to you guys. So if there's any way that I can do that, send me like a single address, and then somebody else wants to hand them out, or you want to send me your address, I'll send you a glow in the dark Hyperfy 3D printed keychain with the NFC tag in it that you can program to any URL you want, but ideally, to your Hyperfy world, so people can just tap your phone onto the.
Yep.
Yeah, that's cool.
You got kicked again, but it's we'll check in with Cheddar and figure out how we can distribute those chains digital, right? So Ash, sorry. Any other comments? I know we're a little bit past the normal time here, but this was pretty neat looking at this hackathon and the work done there. Any closing comments? Anything you want to?
I think we covered a lot of things. Like most of the things that I've seen in the last couple of weeks have been covered here. There's a lot of other things that are also happening that we've probably missed. And personally, I could just talk forever about things that we've done. But I think we're coming up close to just over an hour and 10 minutes. So